In today's episode of Share Your Story, I have Connor Clements here, who is a retention marketer. And before we get into strategy, tell me who you are and how you got into retention in the first place.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's kind of a long story. So I'm fairly young. I might be one of the youngest you've had on the podcast. I'm 21 years old. And so back in 2019, 2018, somewhere in there, my parents were wanting me to get a job. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. So my dad had this old pressure washer in the basement. And so I was like, well, here we go. I went to Home Depot. I bought some supplies and whatnot. And I kind of did that all summer long. And that was kind of my first step into the entrepreneurship world. It's just pressure washing my friends, families, driveways, and whatnot. And I quickly realized that that is not what I want to do longer than this summer. And so I kind of stumbled across drop shipping, or like e-commerce, during COVID, as everyone did. That's my age. And so I kind of started doing that, and I had a couple stores that failed. And so I eventually met this guy named Robert in a community. So I joined this like community or whatever of e-commerce people, and we vibed for a while. And then he was like, yo, I'm starting an email marketing company. Do you want to be like employee number one? And I was in high school at the time. I was like, sure, why not? I'm not making any money. There's nothing to lose. And so we kind of, us and Robert, we founded another email marketing company, and he was primarily kind of doing everything, and I was just kind of watching and learning for a while. In the first 6 months, I don't think either of us made a dollar. And so we were just grinding in the trenches, trying to find clients, trying to learn how to do email marketing and whatnot. And then eventually we got one client. And when you get one client, you get two and three, and then it just kind of snowballs as business naturally does. And so we kind of built that for 3 or 4 years up until October. I'm a junior in college right now, and I quickly realized I need to have some equity in the business. So he had all the equity, and I was kind of employee number one or whatever. Right. And so I was like, I need to have some equity in this, or I'm going to have to bounce. I'm going to have to leave because I'm about to graduate college. I have to kind of make some money. I want to pursue my own venture. And so back in October, I decided to make the leap and leave. I already knew how to fulfill the service. The service is the easy part for me. I just kind of had to figure out how do I get clients, how do I build a team, and how do I sell myself in the company. And so that eventually evolved into what it is today of Retention Harbor. And we are it was slow. It was slow for the first couple months. As it normally is. You're building your LinkedIn, X, and whatnot. It was quite slow, and then probably about 4 or 5 months ago, it started picking up, and I think we're totaling 11 clients right now and scaling. Wow. So it's been a super exciting journey so far.
Man, congratulations on that. What was it behind the scenes that made you want to go all in? You said employee number one. Does that mean you were doing everything yourself and you just knew the entire setup?
Yeah, so I was kind of client success manager of doing everything. So Robert was on the acquisition side and talking to clients. Right. And I was kind of on the back building the emails, writing the emails, doing everything on the back and sending them out in Klaviyo. And so that was kind of our dynamic, as he was much better on camera than me, and he knew how to sell and whatnot at the time. I was 19 years old, so I had no idea what I was doing. And so he was kind of on the front end of the business, and then I was on the back end kind of fulfilling the service. And I kind of had an aha moment back in October. I was like, I'm graduating college next year. I don't really want to go get a finance job. I'm going to have to make this work and make my own money, like with equity and something. I was making decent money, but nowhere near what I am today, thankfully. But I was like, I want to make this work. I'd prefer not to go to Wall Street after college. And that was kind of the inspiration to kind of jump ship and start my own thing.
That's cool. So if you were to start a DTC brand tomorrow, what would your retention setup look like on day one?
Retention setup day one is very different than day 100, right? And so I would say just have the very basics down. I would say have a pop-up, have a welcome flow, have an abandoned cart flow, and then maybe send one campaign a week. That's what I would do. That's what I would do probably for the first 3 or 6 months until you start doing maybe $50,000 a month, and then you can kind of put more time into the channel. The retention marketing, it's interesting as a service because it's a dependent channel for the most part, is that you have to have leads coming in the door to really make the channel worth it to invest. And so if I was starting a D2C brand from scratch, I would focus on crafting an organic story that people resonate with, not just drop shipping a random product from China. I would craft an organic story, and then I would start to create the best ads that I can, and kind of get those running. Because this was something I was thinking about the other day, is that I think that drop shipping stores, or stores without a real ethos behind it, are on the decline, and stores with a real ethos on it are on the rise, because so many people these days, their attention spans like 2 seconds. And so if you're not really able to capture interest and make people like you as a founder or as a brand, it's going to be very tough to continue into 2026.
Yeah, I mean, I think on that level, it's just sort of what game are you playing, right? If you're just, you know, you're not building a brand with the drop shipping, right? The LTV is not there. AOV may or may not be there, but
definitely not.
You're you're basically having to hustle from one product to the next, right? You're not really in the game long term with any of that. So where do you see like most brands bleeding revenue right now when it comes to email or SMS?
Where I see most brands bleeding revenue is just not taking it as serious as you should be. Most brands that we start to work with before us are sending 1 to 2 campaigns a month, and they already have a big list, and it's like they think I'm some sort of god or something like that, where I come in and I'm making them an extra 10, 20, 30, 40,000 bucks a month. But in reality, most people just don't take it serious enough to, okay, I'm going to work on my flows, I'm going to send a campaign a week, or maybe a campaign every other week. And most people these days are just they're sending out these terrible campaigns that make their customers not want to open the next email. And so that's a big part of what we do, is how do we send campaigns that are so cool and so educational that people want to open the second email? And so
that's cool.
I think that's what we want to, that's kind of our ethos on building the welcome flows and all these front end flows, the acquisition flows, is how do we train these people that we're not just going to spam them for a discount or ask for the sale. We're going to actually connect with them, give them valuable information. Like if we're working with like a pickleball brand, why don't we give them some tips or tricks or something that they can use when they go to the court next and be like, oh, Montes sent me that tip. That's awesome. And next time they need shoes or a paddle or whatnot, you've kind of already won the sale. But that's kind of how we think about it.
Yeah. Has your strategy changed since last October? Like, what are you kind of doing now versus then?
Like fulfillment or like client acquisition, or what do you mean?
No, on the retention strategy side.
Retention strategy. Yeah, I think it's changed a lot in the sense that we're able to provide a lot better service to our clients right now, because we have a bigger team, and we've been building the past 5 or 6 months with the real team. I would say back then, I would say it's about the same. I don't think it's changed too much in the past 6 months, but I think the next 6 months to a year with AI are going to be very, very big, especially with people building like AI email builders and all of the automatic cohort people and whatnot. But
I mean, that brings me to my next point. It's basically, everyone's talking about AI. How are you actually using it right now inside client accounts? Yeah,
I would say it's a good question. The biggest aspect that we're using right now in AI is analyzing large data sets. And so kind of how we operate as a service is that we do not weekly, we do monthly data reports to kind of present to our clients. And so how we've really integrated it into the workflows that we pull our Klaviyo reports, SendLane, Yotpo, and whatnot, and we kind of push them into these models, and it helps us identify things that aren't obvious to us. Right, we've looked at data reports I've looked at data reports for years, and so I can skim over it and see, oh, this is underperforming, this is underperforming. But we've really used it to get super granular and to identify things that aren't super obvious, to kind of help us recommend better things to our clients and help us shift our fulfillment for that certain clients. And so I think that's the biggest thing that we're using right now, kind of on the retention side. And then kind of just like agency or business building sides is kind of how we operate. It's like an assembly line. And so we have a strategist, a copywriter, a designer, and then a deployer, implementer. And we've really found, I think this is the obvious answer, but we've almost entirely replaced our copywriting team. We used to have multiple copywriters. Now we only have one, because we created an internal tool that's just so good that as soon as they open up the email in our operating system, there's already a first draft right? And they just have to go in, edit the draft, make sure the draft aligns with the strategy of the email. And so we've empowered our copywriter to handle like 3x the amount of clients versus just if they're like opening a document and writing it from scratch. That's been one of the biggest ones. And then I think the biggest opportunity right now or the next year is kind of how do we personalize at scale? And so there's tools. We're partners with a tool called Rayleon.
Yeah.
They've been amazing. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
Yeah,
but
I've been checking them out.
Yeah, they're awesome. They allow you to kind of create cohorts of your customers based on actions that they identify that they take. And so you can upload a lead list that has like a Klaviyo lead list that has data paired with it. And they can kind of pull a segment of like people who have done the same action on the site that might be different than what you can see in Klaviyo, right? If someone like clicked on a product 3 times, they're going to know, and then we can get a cohort of people who have clicked on this certain product this many times, and then on our next sale, we give them 5% extra on this product, and you've won the sale. There's just a lot of little things like that that are really cool. And what I'm really curious to see in the next 6 months to a year is that if we can have AI email builders create versions of emails for certain cohorts that the AI finds. And so, for example, I was just talking about Raylan, but imagine if we identified a segment of customers who have taken a certain action, and then AI can help us build that email for that certain cohort of customers.
Right.
And so we can do it right now. The challenge just becomes when we're sending 3 campaigns a week, that quickly turns into like 15 campaigns a week if we're doing it for all these different segments. And so I think it's going to be really cool to see who can create that first and who can allow you to create all these different versions super fast to send to everyone, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I actually created a list of 100 segments, 500 segments, and 1,000 segments based on my Shopify catalog.
Yeah.
I don't have the bandwidth to do it myself.
Exactly. And that's what it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like
but
even at an agency,
the possibility is there. The possibilities are there
Yeah.
to make more money and to generate more income and more revenue. So it's coming. I don't know who would be leading the race. Klaviyo, very much the leader.
Yeah.
And any update they make is going to take a lot of movement because they have a lot of clients, right?
They're a big company, yeah.
But they could.
I think there's going to be some up and coming company that's going to create something groundbreaking like that, and it might shake up the industry. But
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if a company like Rayleon or another, like you said, startup just pops out and it's just like boom, here you go. I definitely, if I was a bet, man, maybe a dark horse we don't even know is in the race right now.
Yeah. I'm going to give them a shout out. Someone doing something really cool is Redo.
Okay.
They primarily did, I think they did shipping, but they're dabbling in email. I think SMS as well, but they've
Nice.
started to create some AI email builders that aren't bad. And
That's awesome.
Aren't bad, but again, the biggest challenge with an ESP these days is deliverability. Klaviyo is obviously the gold standard, but you see in these other platforms, it's just really challenging to get the results because they just don't have as good of an infrastructure and as much talent to kind of build it out.
Right.
And speaking of ESPs, for those listening to the podcast, today is the day that Yotpo closed their doors for email SMS. Have you heard about that, Chris?
I did. I mean, it's been all over X. You can't hide from it. I think.
Yeah.
Going to your point, email and SMS is a hard game, and you're going up. Klaviyo is you can't really compare it to Apple because Apple has Samsung and other competitors.
Yeah.
But maybe Klaviyo is more like an IBM.
Like more of a tech company. Yeah.
And it's just like, I mean, how do you build an IBM? How do you build a Klaviyo? And I think that's what a lot of challenges. Now, I think there's been a couple partners announced. Attentive and OmniSend have kind of both raised their hands as saying that they're preferred partners for Yotpo
I saw that.
clients. And then obviously the email agency guys are out today.
Yeah.
To help you with migration.
Yeah, it's tough. I woke up and checked my phone and I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be an interesting day. But Yeah, I think Yotpo was a great platform, but again, I just think no shade. I love everyone at Yotpo, but I just think
Yeah.
as a smaller ESP, it's just really tough to compete on the deliverability side. And I mean,
Right.
every time we move a client from either Yotpo or another ESP, it's just really tough to kind of land in the inbox. And so I think that's the defining factor. I mean, we're happy to we're happy to bring anyone over to any email platform that has the
Right.
functionality with the integrations and can help us land in the inbox.
Yes.
But again, that's kind of the biggest challenge that smaller ESPs are facing is how do we not go to spam? 'Cause if you're going to
Right.
spam, if your customers' emails are going to spam, they're not going to be your customers for very long. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, that's an interesting point. I think that there's been a couple ESPs, Sendlane and Omnisend. I think both have pretty good deliverability.
yeah,
And I know there's been some data infrastructure happening with Sendlane too. I think July 4th they had no issues, whereas
that's
compared to
awesome.
last July 4th they had issues
Yeah.
because of the amount of sends. Now, obviously, it's not the same as Black Friday, but
Mhm.
I think there has been improvements there. What do you think with AI? Like, do you think like what what can AI not replace an email agency today, or even maybe
This is
tomorrow?
a tough question. I was talking to my buddy about this.
Yeah.
Um, I think the client connection and the
Mm-hmm.
deep strategy. I think
Mm-hmm.
that everything is just a little bit too personal and too
Mm-hmm.
deep these days that email agencies probably won't be replaced for the next 5 years.
Right.
I think maybe in 5 years there's going to be something that we can't even imagine right now that's
Right.
going to happen in 5 years that might replace us on the marketing front. But I think that with the clients that we serve, there's just so much deep and manual strategy that we put into every campaign, every flow that aligns with kind of the client's preferences and just kind of what's going on with
Right.
the client. I just think it's so challenging to replace one that human touch
Right.
and doing anything,
Right.
and then kind of that client connection. Clients want someone who can go in and is actually going to look human to human
Right.
instead of doing an AI. So I think AI, it doesn't have a bad rap, but it has a rap for kind of skipping over things or making things up these days. And
Right.
so I think it's going to be challenging for an email agency to be totally replaced, but I think that agencies are certainly going to have to become more efficient on the business side because
Mm-hmm.
I think that AI is going to help clients get maybe 50% of the way there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, okay, I can set up this flow, I can send this email every week.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that we'll probably be chasing slightly lower retainers. And so,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that they're going to have an infrastructure setup that works, and they're going to want a human to go in and kind of get it to that 90 or 100% and really be firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, I mean, I think retainers may not even go down. I think I was actually on a call with Meta this morning,
Yeah,
and I was just talking with the reps, and they kind of started asking me questions, and I was like, honestly, guys, like I think now is the best time to build an agency out of all the times to build an agency because there's even a lot of people in college, and I think you could attest to this, who do not know how to use AI, who
not at
really
all.
still don't know how to use ChatGPT. So I think there's
Yeah,
there's this element. You're gonna have the adopters who understand the technology, know how to implement it, and really, I think it's going to be the most profitable time. And also, too, agencies,
I agree.
unlike 10, 15, 20 years ago, they're going to be more. You're going to be able to exit your agency. It will have the
Exactly.
opportunity to be acquired.
You're going to have so much IP if you're
Right.
able to build these backend systems that help automate the
Right.
service at the same level or a higher quality of service,
Hmm.
right? That's where my head's at too, is
Right.
how do I create a agency where
Hmm.
I'm utilizing AI to the max. My employees are extremely efficient. The operating system almost runs itself, and
Right.
so that's going to be extremely attractive to investors in maybe 3-4 years
Yeah.
if I do want to exit.
Yeah, and I think maybe 5 years. You're right. Maybe it's
Yeah,
something we don't see. There is that possibility, but I think for the guys, like you and me and others who are in it every day, We were
Yeah.
literally sort of updating with every update. As
Yeah.
funny as that sounds.
Every day you check it, LinkedIn, and there's some new tool. You're like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
that's
Like, I
cool.
mean, we'll be ready and we'll be in demand. So we're already seeing it actually. So,
Exactly.
um,
You brought up a funny point I want to talk about.
yeah, yeah.
AI in college, because I'm experiencing it firsthand. And
Right, of course.
I think it's quite interesting. Is that I think there's an AI crisis going on in college right now.
Hmm.
Because every student, whether they admit it or not, is using AI on their
Right.
homework, AI to write their papers, and I think it's a game of, if you're bad at it, you get caught, and
Right.
if you're good at it, it's undetectable. And
Hmm.
so I think that college is going to get really shaken up in the
Hmm.
next probably 2 years with this with AI, because everyone's just using it on all their assignments. No one's learning anything genuine. Everyone, I'm seeing it. Everyone just pulls an all-nighter the night before the test, and
Yes.
then soon they just dump it out of their brain after they walk out. And so I
Yeah.
think there's certainly a crisis going on, and I think that if schools don't adapt to empower kids to think for themselves or use
Right.
AI on the assignments,
Right.
I think it could become obsolete in the next 5 or 6 years. And what's interesting is that I'm in the business school in Colorado, and so a lot of my professors are in the business world, or were in the business world for a while, and so they understand that you can use all the tools available
Right.
at your job. And so they've really been striving to give us assignments that we're allowed to use AI, and we can kind of think on our own and develop our own strategy that gets graded, versus another degree like math or whatever, where you can plug
Yeah.
the problem in, get the answer, and move on. And so I'm
No.
really interested to see kind of how that evolves in the next 5 years.
Yeah, no, it's heading here fast. I'm on the Dean's Council for Arts and Science at New Mexico State University,
Yeah.
and they have a new president of the university, and they brought me in to meet with them. And the thing about it is like you have all these professors who 30, 40 years of learnings has been basically boiled down to a prompt.
Exactly.
And so there's some real
Exactly.
existential crisis sort of going on. But to your
Interesting.
point, critical thinking, value systems, those are the things that we really have to define more so. And even game theory is going to be, a big part of it. So, and they actually had me do an audit and of their entire strategies, and basically, they have to lean into it. And
Have to, yeah.
but like if you kind of bring game theory into it, it can be fun. It can be a fun learning experience. And I think that
You can.
the traditional educational system has been lacking a sense of fun, because I've privately told people, like, I feel like you get to 8th grade and you kind of learn kind of the basics of
I think college more so helps you get from 18 to 22 and become a good person, how to live on your own, think for yourself, than actually equipping you with the tools you need to get a job. Obviously, if you're going to be an engineer or something like
Right.
that, you need those tools. But for a
Yeah.
business degree or
Exactly.
arts and science or something like that, I just don't know these days.
Yeah, my nephew's at Boulder getting his master's right now. So
Oh, really?
in
Really cool.
engineering. Yeah. So
That's
he
awesome.
needs it.
It's a great engineering school.
So it doesn't apply to everything, but
Exactly.
I definitely see it changing.
100%.
So, kind of final question here. You're in the game.
Yeah.
You said you're a junior right now.
Yeah, junior in college. So
Junior in
upcoming, I'll be a senior here
Yeah.
starting in 2 weeks. So
Okay, so so we'll just call it senior in college.
senior college, yeah.
AI is here. It's changing everything we know about marketing and best practices, and it's disrupting kind of everything around us, theories, philosophies. What do you do to embrace it where you're at and lean into it, knowing that you got your whole career ahead of you?
It's really challenging because I know where it's at right now, and it's going to be totally different in 5 years. And so one of the biggest ways I use AI in business and just in life is on ChatGPT. There's like the voice function, or like the where you can talk to it. I love, like, when I'm walking to class or walking to get a coffee, I enjoy just talking to it, because it can, like, one of my favorite prompts is tell me what blind spots I have, right? And so I'll tell it about this certain situation, and then it'll tell me the blind spots, and I'm like, well, if that comes up, I know it can happen now,
Yeah.
and things like that. And so I'm embracing it where it's at right now, but in 5 years, I think it's going to be something that we can't even imagine, right? I know Facebook or Meta's coming out; they have those glasses or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think AR could be augmented reality, could be a cool thing integrated with AI. And I really wonder if we'll still have an iPhone in the next 10 years, or if we'll have a handheld phone in the next 10 years.
Personally. Yeah,
I hope not too.
Yeah.
It's a fun question to think about. It's like we can't even imagine what's going to replace it, but something probably will. And so I think I'm here for the ride. I think one of the most important parts as a person in society these days is staying up to date on AI, especially as a kid coming out of college. If you don't know how to use AI, you're not going to get the job. Someone who knows how to use AI is going to be monumentally ahead of you. Do more work, higher quality of work, just do things faster. They're going to be monumentally ahead of you. And I think that you just kind of have to figure out how to integrate it into your life right now, or at least I'm figuring out how to integrate it with the talking feature, but I'm excited to see where it is in 5 years.
I love that. For people who want to connect with you after this, where can they find you online, and where can they connect with Retention Harbor?
Yeah, 100%. My LinkedIn is just Connor Clements, so if you just search up Connor Clements in the search bar, you'll see a wonderful profile picture of me. You can click on that, connect with me. I'm happy to talk with anyone. And there's also a book a call link in my profile notes as well. So if there's any listeners of the podcast that do want to book a call and are interested in working on the retention marketing side, I'm happy to do $1,000 off the first month. So
sweet, there you
go.
go.
It's a little offer for everyone here. So.
Yeah, you heard it here first. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Connor.
100%, Chris. Thanks.
All right, thanks.